Well, the time has come to put the cylinder on the block. I have my piston. This is my new SPI piston, and it comes with the clips, the wrist pin. I have new bearings, and of course I've got the 2 rings, and it comes with instructions, which kind of helps to assemble it and make sure it fits. Well, this is a stock cylinder. I mean, it hasn't been bored. So you take and you put the piston down in it. I'm just doing a wiggle test comparison to the old one, and there is hardly any wiggle at all. So my guess is that we're going to be pretty good with that. Actually, I can't that right. So, but it does give you some specs. The T-Molly clearance, series clearance is with the liquid cooled, and this is a 72 millimeter, I believe. So, yeah, it's got a little bit of leeway there. But anyway, here's some ring gap, and that's what I'll check next. I'll put the rings in there and just kind of take a look at that to make sure that we're within specs. So, and then I'll show you what I do putting these back together. Okay, we're going to check the ring gap. I'll show you how I've been showed and told how to do it. You can see the ring is down in there. I think you can see that already. I've inserted it into the bore, and what you do is you take your piston to make that ring so that it's not tilted one way or the other, and you just kind of push down with the piston, and then that makes that parallel around there. And then it mentions in the specs here the ring gap is between 0.014 and 0.022, and that's inches. So I have my feeler gauges, and I've got a 0.14 brought out. Now what I do is you just go down in here where your rings come together, and you put that in there, and if it easily goes in, you can kind of tell yeah, that's just about perfect. That's about 14. It might be 15 or 16, I don't know. You can keep going larger until you find it, but what I could do, and what I will do, is go to 22. And if I can't get the 22, or even if I can get the 22 but it's really tight, then I will call that good. So you take the 22 and you put it down, and yes, I can't even get it in the gap, so we are within spec. So now what we'll do is we get to mount this on the piston, and it can be a little bit tricky, but there's locator pins on these pistons in the frame here. There we go, and you can kind of see them. Let me see. There's one right there, and then there's another one right there. And then on top of it, they tell you to mark where those pins are at, so you know where it's at. But you see that little arrow, and then it just says 3C standard. I don't know what the 3C is for, but anyway, that, according to the instructions, goes towards the flywheel. So when the cylinder sits on the block, the flywheel will be on this side, because that's where my water pump goes and that's where the flywheel's at. So these pistons then will go in like this. And so anyway, but the trick is you got to get everything loaded. That piston's got to be, rings have got to be put on it, and then I have to mount it to each one of the rods and get them all set. And then we take and pick this turd up here, and then I'm going to grease or oil up these cylinders better, and then we will slide that down over the top of the pistons, and that's where the trick comes in, to get both of them in there. You just pinch the rings together with your fingers till you get them on. So that's the basics for installing pistons in the 2-cycle. So I'll bring it back when I'm done. Well, we got one in. I'll tell you, it's been a while since I've installed pistons. The toughest part's putting that little circlip in there. Man, that's a pistol. And this is essential too, because those little clips like to fly, and if you're putting one in and it drops down in your cases, you're going to play hard to get that out of there. So, but anyway, you cover the hole up with a rag. That way, if it comes out, it's not going to go down inside anywhere. So, on to the next piston. Well, there it is. I finally got the cylinder on, pistons in place. Now I'm in the process of putting my nuts back on, and these are the ones, the nuts, and you can see they're pretty cruddy. So what I like to do is put them on that wire wheel, clean them up so they look decent, not all crusty, rusty. And I gotta get this cleaned up here too. I have a slow speed drill. It's not a very fast one. It's an old corded one, Black & Decker. But I put this wheel on it, and it's a, I think I'm pretty sure it's steel, but it's a soft steel, and it just does a nice job for cleaning stuff like that up. But anyway, it's there. Yeah, I put it on. Started putting it on. I got both pistons in the cylinders, and I looked down and I forgot to put the gasket on. So you pull it back off again, start over. So I'm sure I'm not the first guy that's forgot that. You just get in a hurry. But anyway, I just need to slow down everything and just take my time now. I know one thing, that if you're going to do this, let me shut this off. Don't put your flywheel on yet, because the magnets in there tend to grab, and it wants to do this number. And when you're trying to get those pistons in place, it's kind of tricky, because it wants to flop back and forth, you know. And so, yeah, for anybody that's doing this, put that on after you get your cylinder, because it'll make it a whole lot easier maneuvering those pistons up into the bores there. We got it. Boy, oh boy, what a job. She looks nice though, doesn't it? It's all clean. The heads, actually, I should have probably thrown that in the pressure or parts washer here and cleaned it up, but I thought it was pretty clean when I got it. But looking at the block, it's not that awful clean. That's okay. It's not a show sled. It's just a rider. All right, I'll bring it back when I get more. Hopefully we can get this head on it today. And the problem is with these cylinder nuts, I do not have a tool to be able to torque those. And so that's just going to have to go by feel, I guess. I don't know what else. I know some of the guys have got special little tools that fasten on the end of your torque wrench that stick out, you know, a box end type thing that you can slide over here, and then it pulls your torque wrench out over here so that you can torque, but I don't have one. So we'll just make do. It'll be fine. All right, bring it back. I got more. Well, I want to show y'all something that I do. I don't know if I would recommend this or not, but there's the head. And I'll show you what I've done so far. Is I've scraped the gaskets off, and you can see that I've gone over this side and cleaned it. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a bunch of little tiny scratches in there from the razor blade knife that I used to get this off. But in order to get some more of this residue off, I'll show you what I use. And I mentioned it before, but it's this. This is my, it's a 3/8 inch drill. It's an old corded drill. But, and this is, I don't know how soft it is, or it's pretty stiff, I guess, but I don't use a lot of pressure. I just use that to kind of skim over it. It takes away all those little scratches, and it'll clean all that little bit of residue that's left. So I just thought I'd demonstrate that a little bit. You can see it's not too fast. It's just, it just works. Here's a quick little demo of what it does. You can see this cylinder was the one where the piston seized through a bunch of, I don't know what you call it, aluminum residue. It just wasn't smooth like this one was, but that just cleaned that right up. And you can see how it took that residue that I haven't hit yet. It hasn't taken that off, but it just leaves it nice and smooth. And like I said, I don't want somebody to think, oh, you can do it. I can do it too. Well, you can, but you don't get a real high speed, and you don't put a lot of pressure on it because this is aluminum. And you can start gouging up the surface, and you definitely don't want that. All you want to do is just take the residue that's on it off to make it smooth. So that's just one little thing I thought I'd show, because I use that with all my lawnmower engines, all the snowmobile engines that I have rebuilt. I do this, and it seems to work very well. So just thought I'd pass that on. I'll show you something else that I thought of, because what happens lots of times that these engines, this hadn't been taken apart since '96. So these studs tend to corrode in these holes because they're steel, and this is aluminum. the head. And so what I did is I got some, over there, some Never Sees grease. I just kind of went around each one of those studs and put a thin coat over every stud. That way, if this ever has to come apart in the future, you know, it's going to help have any issues, you know, of one of these studs rusting off or twisting off when you go to remove the head. So, you know, I just thought of that. I thought that probably would be a good idea to do, just for the fact that, you know, somebody in the future, probably won't be me, but I don't need some guy, other guy have to suffer problems just because of a lack of do a little maintenance or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, this cylinder or head gasket, there's many ways to put it on. And if I get my hands on here, we go. And you have to line all these holes up. You can put it on, I think, 4 different ways. But what you really have to look at is your holes. Are they all lining up into the orifices in the block or the cylinder? And so they're all lined up, except, I mean, there's nothing there. I mean, it doesn't matter if you turn it over, they're still going to be right in the middle. But everything else lines up. And so it's imperative that you do that. You see these holes, those little slots are the same as these slots. But if you turn this gasket over like this and put it down, then the rest of your holes, they won't all line up. I'm not saying that some of them won't line up, but what you need is these holes through these. This is important. That's where your coolant goes through. And you got to have the coolant to flow through your head and through your cylinder and through the block. And, well, I guess it doesn't go, I don't know. But anyway, you got to have coolant flow. That's what that's all about. So anyway, I'd let you see that too. Well, we're going to put the head on now. So, yeah, and I got everything cleaned up. The bottom's looking good. I even cleaned the some of the residue off of the top just to make it pretty. So, well, there is that. I've got my, there's no thermostat in it, but there is a gasket that goes down over this, which I took this off. Here it is. It's your filler neck. So that will be cleaned up and put on. But right now, what I want to do is, again, take all these nuts over to the wire wheel. We're going to clean these all up because it looks nice. I mean, in the past, I have even to clean the top of the engine up to make it look nice. When you flip the hood open, you look down on a clean engine and all your bolts are shiny and your head is all clean and looking nice. I enjoy that. That looks nice. And so I have done that before with that wire wheel and that drill. Just clean the whole head all up, and then I've even taken the nuts off one at a time and you know, then put them back on and clean them all up and put them back on and torque them back, you know. I've done that too, just to make them nice. And then what happens though is through the summer, they tend to get rusty, the moisture in the air and everything else. So what I do is I got some fluid film and I just kind of spray that down over the top of this, and that helps prevent those nuts from getting rusty. That's just me. I'm OCD.